A Su-30 fighter belonging to the Russian Air Force caught fire at the military airfield located in the city of Krymsk in Russia's Krasnodar region on December 14, the main intelligence agency of Ukraine stated. According to the statement, the incident was organized and carried out by the main intelligence agency. Moreover, on December 13, 3 locomotives were set on fire and disabled on the railway in the city of Krymsk by the employees of the main intelligence department. The plane caught fire at the airfield that was used by Russia to fire missiles at Ukraine.
A leading Russian mill blogger claimed Ukrainian Air Force F-16s are flying combat sorties from a NATO airbase in Poland, an allegation that was repeated in both Russian and Ukrainian media but not independently confirmed. According to Kiev Post, the fairly obscure pro-Moscow mill blogger Globalistica identified the Polish Air Force Minsk Mazowiecki Air Base east of Warsaw as the home base for at least 16 Ukrainian Air Force F-16 fighter aircraft, of which 7 currently are repainted with Ukrainian colors and are on combat status. Reinforcements of 6 F-16AM fighter jets donated to Ukraine from the Netherlands Air Force and 3 from Denmark arrived at the base in recent days, but those aircraft have not yet been repainted with Ukrainian livery, that source said. Major pro-Russian military channels said the report was accurate and that effectively Ukraine's Air Force was using a NATO airbase as a sanctuary from possible Russian counterattacks. US-financed maintenance of the aircraft prior to and following combat missions was being performed at Minsk Mazowiecki, the leading pro-Kremlin mill blogger Dvar Majora reported. A total of 18 F-16AM/BM fighters donated to Ukraine by the Dutch Air Force are based at Romania's Fatesti Air Base and are being used for training of Ukrainian Air Force pilots and ground crew, the source said. According to official Ukrainian sources, the US-made F-16 fighter saw its combat debut in Ukraine in mid-August 2024 following an initial deployment of 6 aircraft. Another batch, likely of 6 aircraft, was received in mid-December. Locations of the base or bases used by the jets and their precise numbers are Ukrainian military secrets. The main mission for the F-16 thus far in the war has been air defense against cruise missiles and kamikaze drones launched against Ukrainian homes and businesses. December Ukrainian Air Force statement said. In interviews with the local Kyiv 24 news station, Ole Katov, chief editor of Ukraine's Defense Express military and security news platform, said that a likely future mission of Ukraine's F-16 fleet would be strikes into Russian territory using high-tech, long-range glide bombs. In late 2023, news reports said that once Ukraine's F-16s began operations, major maintenance would be performed in Poland's main depot base for the aircraft at Military Aviation Depot No. 2 in the city of Bigodzic. The Russia-originating reports saying that Ukraine's F-16 fleet was based outside Ukraine went public one day after the US State Department approved a $266 million F-16 maintenance package for Ukraine via the US Defense Corporation Agency. In Europe, they are considering the possibility of creating a coalition for the potential sending of troops to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire, which would act as guarantors of a possible agreement with the Russian Federation. Reuters reports this. According to the agency, there is currently no consensus on this issue, but the idea of creating a coalition of 5 to 8 countries that would depend not on the North Atlantic Alliance, but on a bilateral agreement with Kiev is being considered. There are no concrete proposals yet. According to diplomats, Poland is not currently among those countries that could send their troops to Ukraine. The agency reports that London and Paris discussed the possibility of deploying European troops on Ukrainian territory last month. Kyiv has also held such talks with the Baltic and Scandinavian countries. The idea of deploying European troops in Ukraine was first voiced by French President Emmanuel Macron in February of this year, but was rejected by Germany at the time. Then there was the discussion of the possibility of sending non-combat units that could train Ukrainian troops, participate in demining operations or border control, but these discussions have not yet resulted in anything concrete. Two diplomats said one scenario in the short term was to reconsider the idea. Even after the war in Ukraine ends, Europe will continue to face a threat from Russia, and European countries will have to take on part of the military burden to ensure the security of the Ukrainian state, one official said. For the first time, the contours of President-elect Donald Trump's initial efforts to end the war in Ukraine are beginning to emerge during his visit to Europe. According to the Wall Street Journal, he proposed stationing European troops in Ukraine to monitor the ceasefire. It is noted that Europe will have to take on much of the burden of supporting Kyiv with troops to monitor the ceasefire and weapons to deter Russia. At a meeting in Paris on December the 7th, Trump told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and French President Emmanuel Macron that he does not support Ukraine's membership in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, but he wants to see a strong, well-armed Ukraine emerge from any cessation of hostilities, the sources said. Trump has indicated that Europe should play a major role in defending and supporting Ukraine, and that he would like European troops to be present in Ukraine to monitor a ceasefire. He has not ruled out the possibility that the United States would support the agreement, although American troops would not be involved, officials said. Trump also urged the Europeans to do more to pressure the Chinese to end the war, according to a person familiar with the meeting. They discussed using tariffs on China as a bargaining chip if Beijing did not agree to do so. Russian soldiers apparently use drugs that help them hold on even after being wounded. In this state, they go to storm Ukrainian positions and sometimes succeed. This was stated on the telethon by the commander of the Kara Nebezna UAV crew, Andriy Otchenash. The Ukrainian soldier called it a zombie apocalypse in Russian. As strange as it may seem, the most effective tactical method they are currently using is drugs, says the military man. According to him, he and his comrades witnessed a case where a Russian serviceman was wounded in the side and had leg injuries, after which he spent a day on the ground and did not die. Then his fellow invaders threw some kind of drug at him from a drone. He got up and was able to walk another kilometer. How this happens is nonsense to me. Sometimes it looks like some kind of zombie apocalypse, the defender admitted. At the same time, he says that this is not a stupid, but a rather well thought out assault in which these zombie Russians know how to fight, move correctly, clearly keep their distance, and, unfortunately, sometimes carry out quite competent attacks. This is some kind of complex of inadequacy and stupid meat assaults where most of them die anyway. That is, 90 to 95% of Russians die at the beginning of the assault operations precisely thanks to the UAV, but those 5 to 10% continue the assault, try to knock our fighters out of positions, and if they succeed, occupy them and wait for some kind of replenishment to arrive, commented the commander of the Kara Nebezna UAV crew. It should be noted that Russian soldiers in occupied regions of Ukraine frequently take synthetic drugs and smoke marijuana. Drug use on the front line is widespread and growing. It usually starts with active or former drug users who are drafted into the army without proper medical screening and continue to find ways to support their addiction. Ignored and ostracized in some units, these soldiers quickly gain influence in others, becoming the go-to contacts for those seeking rest and recreation. There are a number of reasons why soldiers on the front line turn to drugs. Some soldiers use drugs as a means of escapism. Some use them to get some rest after several sleepless nights under constant shelling. Others are simply bored. There are also those who use drugs to stay alert. You cannot close your eyes for even a second when the enemy is just a few meters away.